The Consumer Affairs Commission is a government agency established to inform, educate, and empower consumers to protect themselves in the marketplace. Now, the CAC operates under the Trade Act and certainly the Consumer Protection Act of 2005. And of course, what we do market research. We handle complaints, so we have a complaint resolution service. And of course, we have a robust consumer education program. So the Consumer Affairs Commission has a field department, outreach department, which takes care of educating consumers, and we do so through our participation in expos and other like activities across the length and breadth of the island. We also arrange to make presentations to different groups, community groups, service clubs, churches, schools, all of these different institutions. We make presentations to them. And of course, we participate in seminars, other activities that empower consumers. And of course, we try as much as possible to use that information to share with consumers and to really empower them and then ensure that they learn what their rights are, what their responsibilities are, and what the issues that we might be focusing on, what they are and how they impact the consumer and how they can, arm themselves to deal with, to really handle these issues as consumers. So the Consumer Protection Act of 2005 was also amended in 2012. And what the act does, it arranges sections that address different issues. So the first part of the act, part 1, speaks to interpretation. Sections 2 to 4 addresses that. Part 2 speaks to the establishment and the function of the Consumer Affairs Commission. Yes, so sections 5 and 6 address that. And of course, section 3 is the administration of the act. So it speaks to, how complaints are made to the commission, the discretion the commission has, the power to investigate, summoning persons, obligations under the law, all of these things are all there, the administrative aspects of things and how the minister, the responsibility of the minister and how he makes orders, that kind of a thing. He or she, of course. So the administration of the act, and that goes from section 7 to 17. And then you have section 4, the duties of the providers and the consumers. That is a good section because that section is where consumers are educated and empowered about their duties, their rights under the law. And of course, the providers of goods and services are also there to address their issues too, right? So it addresses both the duties of the provider and the consumer, yeah? And that is sections 18 to 27. Now, part 5 of the act speaks to misleading and deceptive conduct, false representation, and unfair practices. All those areas are covered, section 5, and That's between sections 28 to 35 of the Act. And of course, unfair contracts is the next one. Part 6 of the Act, yes, speaks to unfair contracts, sections 36 to 43. And that outlines things like duties, breach of duty or obligation, the exclusion of restricting liability by contract, reliance upon contractual provisions where breach, indemnity subject to reasonableness. You know, all of those areas are covered under that section. And of course, part 7 is the settlement of disputes that has to do with sections 44 to 51, where it speaks about establishing our tribunal. Yeah, very important, because if we don't resolve the issue at the office level, at the CAC level, then there is a tribunal that is next. And of course, that operates just like any court. You know, it addresses the issues just like in any court, and the decisions taken in the tribunal are binding. Yes. So those really are sections of the Act. It covers a plethora of areas: information to the consumer, measurement of goods, receipt to be given to the consumer, warranties, damage resulting from the use of the item, and all of these things, how people are misled, you know, false and misleading representation, non-delivery of goods on the date, the contractual date, and all of these things, you know, lovely areas, a whole heap of areas that the Consumer Protection Act covers. So the top 5 priorities, I believe, that the consumers really should know are: 1, we should know our rights and responsibilities. There are 11 rights of the consumer and 6 responsibilities. I want to just quickly go through them with you, but I want to make sure that I say what these 5 things are. The 5 things that you just asked about, those 5 things. Know your rights and responsibilities as a consumer. You should know what to do once your rights are breached. You must take action. That's number 3. Take action. It's not enough to just know. We should take action. Yes. And having taken the action, ensure that we are satisfied with the resolution. Yes. Number 4, we should read contracts carefully before signing. And where you're having challenges with certain areas, discuss it before you sign. The 5th thing is that I'd love for us to start advocating for better. As consumers, we should be advocating for better. But the only way we can do that is when we know our rights for sure. And here are the rights of the consumers. The right to access, the ability to access essential goods and services, which includes education. So, access. Secondly, inclusivity, protection of vulnerable and disadvantaged consumers. That are some persons who are even disabled. Those are the vulnerable ones. We should have them included in their rights and have them protected as well. The right to safety is number 3. Protection from hazards to your health and to your safety. 4, protection of economic interests, the promotion of value for money, and the protection from risks. Yes, that's number 4. 5, the right to information. That is access to clear, accurate information to enable informed choices. 6, consumer education. We should get assistance to understand consumer transaction and the environmental, social, and economic consequences of specific choices that we make as consumers. 7, redress. It is not to take off your clothes and dress up again. Redress is the availability of effective dispute resolution services and redress mechanisms. And these are the 3 R's we call it in our program: repair, replace, and by all means, refund. The right to representation, that is, the freedom to form consumer groups and have views included in relevant making processes. So we get involved with how our life goes and the decisions that we make in our lives. So even to influence the decisions that are made by politicians, yes? 9 is the right to sustainability, the promotion of sustainable consumption patterns. 10, e-commerce. Everything is going online these days. Equal protection for consumers dealing with organizations online and offline. And 11, very, very important indeed, the right to privacy. That is the protection of consumer privacy and global free flow of information. So those are the 11 basic rights of the consumer. Critical awareness. I did say earlier that we should be knowledgeable of our rights, but awareness, we need to be aware of what those rights are, what our responsibilities are, what to do and how to do what we do, etc., etc. So awareness is very important. The second responsibility is that of thinking independently. We should make our own minds up about what we purchase, how we purchase it, how long the terms are, etc. So we should think independently where that is concerned. Yes. The third responsibility is to speak out. Yes, to speak out, and where necessary, join arms with others in order to make sure your voices are heard. The fourth responsibility we have is to take action. The can't bother your attitude don't work anymore, folks. That's an old time something. We need to take action and ensure that the issues we're having are properly resolved. And the fifth one is about protecting the environment. As consumers, we have a responsibility. We have a right to a healthy environment, but we also have a responsibility to that environment. We ask that we take care of our environment, because if we don't, our environment will take care of us.